Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Vedant Agarwal. Our lead story, well, the president batting for fast-track justice. She says that while victims live in fear, culprits, particularly those in positions of power, roam free. She says for real justice and real democratic values to prevail, speedy justice and fast-track justice are essential. In fact, this, as she also talked about how cases lie pending in courts for years on end. Take a look.
एविडेंस और विटनेसेस से जुड़े मुद्दों पर न्यायपालिका, सरकार और पुलिस प्रशासन को मिलजुल कर समाधान निकालना चाहिए। कुछ मामले में साधन संपन्न लोग अपराध करने के बाद भी निर्भीक और निश्चत घूमते रहते हैं। जो लोग उनके अपराधों से पीड़ित होते हैं वे डरे से में रहते हैं, मानो उन्हीं बेचारों ने कई अपराध कर दिया है। महिला पीड़िताओं की स्थिति और भी खराब होती है क्योंकि प्रायः समाज के लोग भी उनके साथ नहीं देते। जब बलात्कार जैसे जघन्य अपराध के मामले में न्यायालय के निर्णय एक पीढ़ी के गुजर जाने के बाद आते हैं तो सामान्य व्यक्ति को लगता है कि न्याय प्रक्रिया में संवेदनशीलता कम है। भगवान के घर देर है लेकिन अंधेरा नहीं। लेकिन देर कितने दिन तक, कितना देर हो सकता है? 32 साल, 12 साल, 20 साल, 10 साल? हम लोगों को सोचना चाहिए। तब तक जिसको न्याय मिलेगा 32 साल के बाद शायद उनके चेहरे से मुस्कान ही खत्म हो जाएगा। गांव का गरीब आदमी कोर्ट कचहरी जाने से डरता है और बहुत मजबूरी से ही अदालत की न्याय प्रक्रिया में भागीदार बनता है। उसके लिए एक बार गांव से दूर अदालत तक जाना ही बहुत बड़े मानसिक और आर्थिक दबाव का कारण बन जाता है। ऐसी स्थिति में बार बार तारीख देने यानी स्थगन की संस्कृति अर्थात कल्चर ऑफ एडजर्नमेंट से गरीब लोगों को जो कष्ट होता है उसकी कल्पना भी बहुत से लोग नहीं कर पाते।
Well, this as crimes against women continue to be reported from across the country. And in West Bengal, as the outrage over the RG Kar hospital horror continues, another case of an on-duty paramedic being assaulted has now come to light. In fact, a nurse was assaulted allegedly on duty. A patient allegedly molested the nurse. In fact, also, this as the CBI is questioning doctors at the RG Kar Medical College and Hospital as well, as doctors continue to protest. In fact, the CBI has questioned several doctors and staff members of the RG Kar Medical College and Hospital. Let me go across to my colleague Tanushka joining us live on the phone line. So Tanushka, what more details do you have? The CBI tightening its noose?
Right, Vedant. So the CBI is continuing with its investigation and questioning a few staff members and doctors of the RG Kar Medical College and Hospital. The CBI reached today the RG Kar Hospital at around 4 p.m. and the CBI team is still inside RG Kar. So a good number of hours ever since the CBI has been inside and continuing with their questioning. This, as you know, since the past 18 days, the former principal of the college has also been questioned by the CBI. This is Sandeep Ghosh, and the CBI is also now looking into why Ghosh was absent when the police reached the RG Kar hospital. Besides studying Ghosh's call details, he's undergone 2 polygraph tests. The investigators are speaking to hospital administrators as well. So the CBI may undertake a few more polygraph tests as well, but as of now, the CBI is still inside the RG Kar Medical College and Hospital, questioning and interrogating a few staff members and doctors of the college.
All right, Tanushka, thanks very much for joining us with the latest there. But looking at the case that happened in Howrah, in fact, a 13-year-old patient was allegedly molested inside the Howrah hospital. And this happened during, she was undergoing a CT scan, is what the police have said. In fact, a paramedic, in fact, a hospital staffer, has been accused of molesting that minor girl. Listen in.
जब ये कंप्लेन हमको मिला है, हम हावड़ा जो पुलिस स्टेशन है इसमें हम रिटन कंप्लेन किया है, जो एफआईआर हुआ है, जो एक्यूज थे उसको अरेस्ट भी हुआ है और जो पार्टनर है प्राइवेट पब्लिक पार्टनर सिटी स्कैन उसके साथ हम एक्सप्लोरेशन मारा है। एक्सप्लोरेशन जब देगा वो हायर अथॉरिटी में भेज देंगे। हायर अथॉरिटी जो डिसीजन लेगा वही होगा। देखिए हम तो मालूम नहीं है, जो पुलिस इंक्वायरी करेगा उसका जो ही नतीजा निकलेगा वही होगा।
हावड़ा अस्पताल में जो घटना घटा है वो घटना हम सीपीएम बीजेपी वो मछली पकड़ने का कोशिश कर रहा है। तो मैं ये कहूँगा जो सरकार की तरफ से, प्रशासन की तरफ से, हॉस्पिटल अथॉरिटी की तरफ से जो व्यवस्था लेना है वो सब ले लिया। पुलिस उसको अरेस्ट किया, जो जिसका माने ऊपर जो आरोप है उसको अरेस्ट किया पुलिस, और उसको कोर्ट में फॉरवर्ड भी किया। जो लड़का ये किया उसका वो किसी को नहीं बताया। जो मशीन चालू हो गया, मशीन बंद था, मशीन चालू हो गया, वो किसी को बताया नहीं, इसीलिए ऐसा हुआ।
And moving now to the latest on the Mollywood Me Too movement. Well, the political fallout as the BJP chief JP Nadda questioned the Kerala government over complicity. This as the left government is still silent despite its actor and MLA Mukesh being charged with a fresh case that was registered in Kerala's Thrissur. But listen in to what BJP President JP Nadda said.
Why the delay in the justice to the Hema Committee report? What is stopping them? The Hema report? What stops you? What is haunting you? Because you are part and parcel of that. Something you want to hide.
The day of the election, I said there are unholy nexus between CPM in Kerala and the BJP. So the LDF convener met Prakash Javadekar, who is in charge of Prabhari of the Kerala BJP. Why? And Chief Minister protected Jayarajan and said that I also met Prakash Javadekar many times. Why? Why the Chief Minister of Kerala? He is a Politburo member Kerala. Why he met the Prakash Javadekar? He is not a central minister. He is only the Prabhari of the Kerala BJP. Why? For what purpose?
Meanwhile, actor and left MLA Mukesh, who is really at the centre of this entire Me Too storm, a fresh case has been registered against him in Kerala's Thrissur. This has already been charged with rape earlier. There have been growing demands for his resignation. As many as 100 women activists have written a strongly worded letter demanding his resignation. But the left front government, which has backed him, is silent on this. As more and more actors come out and speak in solidarity with the women who have come out and narrated their ordeal in sordid detail, superstar Rajinikanth evaded a question on the Me Too movement. In fact, he said, I don't know anything about the Hema Committee report. Take a look.
தொடர்ந்து தமிழ் திரையுலகுக்கும் ஹேமா கமிட்டி அமைக்க சொல்லி நிறைய பேர் வலியுறுத்துறாங்க. ஹேமா கமிட்டி மலையாளம்
எனக்கு தெரியாதுங்க, அதை பத்தி தெரியாது, சாரி.
Meanwhile, the Kerala Congress has expelled a senior leader from the primary membership. This, as the Congress says, is after some of the remarks that Simi Rosebell made against women. But Simi Rosebell, remember, had alleged that there is almost a casting couch-like situation in the Congress. Take a look.
ഈ പാർട്ടിയിൽ അന്തസ്സും അഭിമാനവും ആഭിജാത്യവുമുള്ള വനിതകൾക്ക് പ്രവർത്തിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ഈ നൽകുന്ന സന്ദേശം, ഇവരൊക്കെ എത്ര നല്ല പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളിലൂടെ ഈ കേരള മണ്ണിന്റെ ശിരസ്സുയർത്തിയ വനിതകളാണ്. ഇവരൊക്കെ ഹൃദയവേദനയോടെയാണ് ഈ പാർട്ടി വിട്ടത്.
In fact, Henry Austin of the Congress is joining us live on the phone line. Mr. Austin, these are grave allegations that your ex-party leader is making against the party. She says there's almost a casting couch-like situation within the Congress. And this, of course, as the Me Too storm continues to rock the film industry.
Actually, if you look at the original interview which Simi Rosebell had given to News 18 channel, she has not made any allegations regarding sexual abuse. She doesn't say anything about her personal experience. And in fact, she clarified when asked by the anchor, she clarified then that she has personally not faced any of those situations. She has reportedly said that 2 or 3 members of the party had confided in her of such situations. So it is just hearsay. So, and the allegation which she has put forth today is that she has not been considered for adequate positions in the party or given equal opportunities, which itself is not true, because she has contested in the Jilla Council election. She has contested in the Corporation Council election. She has been given an assembly seat. And she has also been made the PSC member. And I believe she has also been a delegate to the AICC. So, so much opportunities have been extended to her. So, she's casting aspersions on every political leaders from the female fraternity, which is not fair. I mean, it's not fair for her to do
very
that.
quickly, Mr. Austin, even if this is hearsay, as you say, would you investigate the allegations that she has made?
I believe the party has constituted a 3-member committee to look into these allegations.
Okay.
But since she has made these allegations offhand, see, the basic decency which she should have done is to complain about this or bring it to the notice of the party in the appropriate forum.
All right.
Which she has not done. She has gone public through a media channel.
Okay,
And
so you
that
believe
media
that she
channel
should have
has
addressed this within the party. Thanks very much, Mr. Austin, for joining us. Ishika Verma, in fact, is also joining us live from Palakkad. Ishika, so grave allegations there, and this amid more and more women activists, filmmakers. You know, it's almost like a wave, a Me Too wave, which is not only confined to the Kerala film industry anymore. But these are grave allegations that Simi Rosewell has made.
Well, yes, in fact, Vedant, as you rightly mentioned, that these are very grave allegations that now, in fact, the ex-Congress leader, Simi Rosewell, has in fact made, and that too against the party itself. And now, in fact, what we are seeing is that the party has taken action on it, and now they have expelled her from the party. Now, after this, she has reacted to this, and she has said that she has made a mistake of becoming the voice of the women. Now, in her particular reaction, she has also again attacked the leader of the opposition, that is V.D. Satishan, and said that he is not scared of anything, but now I am scared to even walk on the roads because anything can happen to me. She, in fact, in her reaction has said that many other leaders, on them as well the action was taken, but the party was unable to prove as to why they were expelled from the party. And she says that her situation is the same. Remember that this comes after, in fact, she had made a controversial statement in a private TV channel where she had, in fact, alleged that there is almost a casting couch-like situation within the Congress party, and only those who are close to the leadership get opportunities. So now, certainly, this Me Too storm that we are seeing, it's already intensifying. It is not, as you mentioned, confined to the Malayalam film industry anymore. Now, this, is coming from within the Congress party as well. Over to you.
All right, Ishika, thanks very much for joining us with the latest there. So a lot of unanswered questions that those in positions of power really need to answer and fix accountability. Looking now at the situation in Manipur, well, isolated incidents of violence still being reported in the state that is limping back to normalcy. In fact, we saw how those dramatic visuals came in from Manipur. The state government, of course, has said that all efforts to establish peace in the state are being made, and such acts are condemned very strongly. The state government has already taken up immediate action to control the situation. But what were exactly these attacks? My colleague Ratndeep Chaudhary has more details.
At a time when Manipur was slowly limping back to normalcy, violence has once again erupted in the state today. Incidents of firing and explosion have taken place in Kautuk in Imphal West, which is adjacent to the Kankopi district, which is in the fringe area of the valley region and the hill region. And the state government has come on record to say that at least 2 people have died and several people are injured. What we are picking up from our sources in the government, that in different hospitals the injured people have been shifted. This includes our security personnel, and at least 9 to 10 people are injured. This numbers might go up because even as we report, there are reports of firing, intermittent firing, as well as explosions which are taking place. And very significantly, the state government has on record said that this time drones and bombs were used in this attack. So this is a reason of concern given the fact that military grade drones bound for Manipur were actually apprehended months back by Assam police. That gave an indication that people who are involved in violent activities in Manipur have been using not only sophisticated arms, not only sophisticated ammunitions, bombs, but now they've started to use drones, and this time it seems that the state government now claims that drones were used.
And well, moving now to the other big headline, the rain situation in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, where at least 8 people have died in Andhra Pradesh's Vijayawada in those landslides that were triggered by heavy rain. In fact, there you can see those unprecedented visuals coming in from Andhra Pradesh, almost neck-deep water, people having to wade through neck-deep water, and also vehicles washed away, office buildings and houses submerged as well. There is a rain red alert for both Telangana and Andhra Pradesh for the next couple of days. In fact, the Home Minister also spoke to both the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh Chief Ministers, taking stock of the situation. Also in Hyderabad, schools and colleges have been shut. But looking at more news now from down south, well, Chennai is hosting South Asia's first Formula 4 night street racing. Chennai is the 14th city to hold Formula 4 racing globally and the 5th city to host night racing. Saurav Ganguly, John Abraham, Naga Chaitanya arrived in Chennai to watch the Formula 4 race. And listen in to this exclusive conversation that my colleague Sam had with Naga Chaitanya.
Is now Naga Chaitanya, also the owner of a team. Thank you very much. First of its kind for India.
So excited to see this happen. A night race on the street in Chennai is something 5-10 years back I didn't dream would happen, but today it's happening. So I think it's a great moment for the city. It's a great moment for India and for Chennai, bringing the sport closer to the people and giving it all the exposure.
What would this mean for motorsports in India?
I know there is a huge community of motorsport fans in India. I think this is a great moment for all of them because it's, just bringing it to the street takes the energy so much more closer to the people. So it's a great moment. Yeah.
In terms of cricket, when you compare it to cricket, still motorsports is lagging behind a lot. You think events like this, when it becomes part of the calendar of several cities, things could change?
I don't want to compare it to cricket. Cricket is cricket. I'm a cricket fan too, and motorsport is motorsport. They're two very different energies, two very different textures. But yeah, of course, as we see more and more races like this on the city streets, definitely it's going to grow. The sport is going to grow for sure.
Last question: turning or converting regular roads into racing tracks. Some say it also creates hardship for the people.
Yeah. I know what you mean, I know what you're talking about, but I'm sure they're taking all the measures possible, keeping it as, least troublesome to the people. So yeah, that's all.
How does it feel to be an owner?
Feels great, it's a dream come true. It's a dream come true.